Looks like everything is working and just need to find them around. Shit. Already jumping into it. Ah, shit. So it's the Wraith. Yeah, Brian, I guess we did. Yeah, I'm wondering if Bruce Campbell's gonna actually... Oh shit, I guess I got found. Wondering if Bruce is actually gonna have lines outside of grunting. I still wish we got like an Evil Dead map though. no, that was... I don't think that was ruined. Yeah, like I said, like, undead skin, not undead, but deadite skins, I would have even paid extra for, just for every single character, killer and survivor included. Or you could have completely have made Ash both killer and survivor. Make it there for the save. Oh shit! What the hell? Nah, I didn't hear of anything else aside from Ash being added. But Henrietta definitely isn't a bad choice. Although I still think either Evil Ash or Ash, or an insane version of Ash where you use all the survivors as deadites, would have probably been like one of the better things that you could have probably have done, just because of the weapons is very much like kind of like the hillbilly, a stabbing weapon and then a chainsaw. In an Evil Dead 2, yeah, Henrietta does stand out more than most of them. But I mean, they all kind of stand out in their own way. Like even the scene where the I forget his name, but the one guy's floating and you have Henrietta in the basement. Dude, why is it I can't see where the hell he is? Okay. I had a hook. Oh, he chose me. Oh, shit. Oh, nice. Well done. Oh no, I felt like with not being able to really fight in the game, if they were gonna go with any Ash, I'd have probably went with the first Evil Dead Ash. And then at that point, you could have could end up using Cheryl as the killer for that. Oh shit! Oh man! Wraith really wanted me in that run. But I mean, We were kind of facing an uphill battle from the beginning on that. Nobody ever found Hex Ruin, and it just devolved more and more. They got me some points to put up towards Ash. Showing them where Hexron was. Alright. And from what I heard of Trick or Treat Studios, at least from the customer service side, the stories I've heard, for the most part, haven't been good, but all my dealings with them have been fine. Like, the only thing I don't like is their pre-order policy. Where, like, let's say, like, I pre-order a video game that's supposed to be out by a certain date. Usually, they'll send that so that way it arrives at your house the day of the release. With them, they have a release date, but they don't start releasing masks until that release date or after. And with the way they ship it, it essentially can take weeks or longer for it to reach you. So if you're looking for, like, let's say the 2018 Halloween mask, with the way and the high demand for that, it took almost until mid-October for it to come. And I usually like to get my stuff a little earlier just in case I want to make any kind of customizations. But I mean, like, from what I see, I own a couple of their masks. I have the Sam Trick or Treat mask. I have the 2018 Michael Myers mask. And I have the Halloween 2 Michael Myers mask. And all of them are, like, great quality. I mean, the paint job isn't always top notch, but for the most part, I like them. But I'm not a horror mask collector like that. Like, I don't go out looking for horror masks. At least on the collection side. For costuming, yes, I have quite a few masks for that. No, it wasn't me talking about ordering the Silver Shamrock mask. I mean, if I was a completionist and wanting all the Halloween masks, the movie masks, then I'd probably get one, but nah, that wasn't me. They look good, though. They look just like the movie. I think the last thing I ordered mask-wise is Dark Side Studios Deluxe Part 3 Jason hood. Sort of upgrading my Jason costume. Like, I saw too many videos on YouTube for it and just looked too good not to get. Especially considering how low that mask goes, or the hood rather, that goes to your shoulders and down into your chest. And the hood I have now, it goes down deep, but it's essentially kind of just like a neck brace. And it's real thin rubber on top of it, so it's like the hump in the back is like, it looks deflated. And it doesn't give the correct Jason head shape. So I'm hoping with this hood it kind of rectifies that. No, that's the Part 3 hood. Like, I was thinking of doing the Part 4 hood, but as much as I love Tom Savini's work, I don't like the drooping eye as low as it is with the mask, like the hockey mask on it. And I didn't want to use a prosthetic to put over the eye, just because it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing to me, because then I have the one eye blinking and the other eye isn't. It's kind of the reason why I have the dead eye for the Michael Myers mask, but I don't know if I'm actually going to use it outside of display, because then I got one blinking eye and the other one is just like still. Shit, no hex room. Okay. Oh, I know who that is. Okay. Yeah, that's mostly what I purchased masks for too, Brian. Oh, that was my fault. I looked away. Oh my gosh. Make the save. Shit, they always see me. Oh, well, damn. You made your own Leatherface mask? You have like a page or anything where you post them on? Because I always enjoy looking at stuff like that. I'm free! Oh wow. I think I almost got away. Damn. I have to check you out on there. I tend to share some things on Twitter from time to time, so I'll definitely check you out on that. Oh wow, where the hell do you keep coming from? Wow. At least I didn't use my unbreakable for that. Ooh, a Mori. Should never suspect that. Nice. I'll check it out right after this game. Yeah, it's like pretty much anything that I share on my Instagram, I instantly share to Twitter as well. I might tweet or retweet from time to time. But it seems like pretty much a good majority of traffic that I get is through Instagram and Facebook. So I tend to focus on those a little bit more. I am working on a generator. Question is she going to marry me? Yeah, she is. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I should be still. What was that? Yeah, I kind of remember the Roy Burns debate, or the debate on the about Roy Burns rather. I do remember your name popping up in the comment section a lot, especially around that video. Yeah, I haven't gotten in depth enough with Twitter to really explore the horror community on there. I mean, so far I got a little bit on with Reddit and stuff like that. Yeah, I see you on Twitter now. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with them playing Tommy. I kind of think that if they were going to put Tommy back in a movie, you're likely either going to get Tom Matthews back or you're going to get Corey Feldman back. Especially after, like, going back to the success of Halloween 2018, they're going to want to capture as much nostalgia as they can, and one of those will definitely suffice for that. But pretty much, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with Scott Adkins playing him. No problem, Brian. I mean, I don't have a problem with either Tom or Corey. Like, especially if they either one was going to come back to reprise the role of Tommy. But I think depending on who you cast would greatly depend on how Tommy should act in the script. Like, if you're casting Corey Feldman with his size, it would strike me that he should be more of a Pamela type. If you're going to cast Tom Matthews, then he can be more of a Jason type character. Because, I mean, in my head, I would want to carry on what they meant to do by beginning to make him the next killer. Or at least toy with the idea. And really try to build off the insanity that they kind of briefly touched on in part 5. But that'd be the thing, like, if you casted Corey, then you kind of have to negate everything from Part 6. Because there's no way, as little as Corey Feldman is, would be as much of a threat physically to Jason. Well, I guess he wasn't even really a physical threat to Jason on there. So, I mean, there was nothing really that Tom Matthews did that Corey Feldman's Tommy couldn't have done. Don't run ahead of me. Oh, really? You can't sneak past it like that? Shit. Let me read back on this. Oh. He's all the way across the map. see you. Oh, that's not good. Let's go for no it. Damn, she's far away. Ooh. I think they're dead anyways. Yep, they're dead. But are you dead? Oh, you actually got away. Alright. Alright, I'm not messing with these people. I'm getting out of here. Alright, let me read back some of these. I did see your Leatherface mask, by the way, as well, Brian. That looks really good. Like, I like it. Final thing, Tom Matthews is the guy from the 60s. Well, I mean, you kind of have to figure as well. From 1984, when I think Tommy was supposed to be like 10 or 11, I think it was. I may be wrong, but from 1984 to wherever you would place it in the timeline where Tommy would come back, presumably after Part 7. And then like coming into like present day. Yeah, you could kind of go for a younger Tommy if you want to. But my thing is, I wouldn't want Tommy... The way I view Tommy was tortured. Like, I wouldn't want him necessarily to be the stereotypical, like, guy going out fighting monsters and everything. Like, granted, he did look for a fight with Jason in part 6 after bringing him back. But I don't want him to be that stereotype. I want him to be tortured, and I want him to show what that torture has physically done to him over the decades. And yeah, definitely both of them have charisma. Like Tom Matthews alone in Return of the Living Dead is like just a treat to watch. Well, I mean, the promiscuous girl could be the final girl. I mean, it's a stereotype that they usually get killed, but I mean, if the writing is there, then it can work. I'd probably say if I would pick any of the characters from the game to be in the next Friday the 13th movie, I'd probably say AJ. Make AJ the final girl. Hello, Charvet, or should I say lady? How you doing? Tommy Doyle and Tommy Jarvis start their own paranormal security firm and call it TNT. I mean, that's after reading the rest of that, Brian, that's not bad. Like, you could actually kind of reboot the Friday the 13th TV series with something like that. Like, using Tommy as someone that goes around collecting cursed artifacts that he got into after putting Jason back into the lake. Which, as much research as he had to have done on Jason to realize that was what was supposed to have stopped them, you'd figure he would become obsessed with the next thing, since he would figure Jason is no longer a threat to him, or, you know, that took up so much of his life that now he needs to fill that void. That's good to hear. Thank you for stopping in. Definitely got to catch a game with you again sometime. It's definitely Tuesday. I'll probably be on a whole lot more than normal. Once Ash comes out on the game, I'll probably be trying to do whatever I can to level him up. If not off stream, then while on stream as well. Exactly, Brian. Like, pretty much just going around collecting all the, like, iconic, like, talismans or, like, antiques and everything, like, throughout the horror, like, world. Even coming across the red jewel for the Jinn. Yeah, that's good to hear, Brian. I mean, I don't definitely. I mean, I play it obviously, but I love like talking horror with you guys as well. Like exactly. Like Tommy could be the sort of fictional version of the Warrens, where they have their like haunted museum, or Lorraine Warren has her haunted museum. Um, or if she still has it, I don't remember. I don't know if she passed it down or not. But you could have like Tommy Jarvis and Tommy Doyle for that matter, like both of them together going around hunting all these things and creating their own kind of haunted museum for cursed objects and stuff like that. As you figure, there's almost a version for everything the Warrens have and their stuff that exists in the horror fictional world, that they can almost, I guess you could say, have a doppelganger of. Like instead of Annabelle, you have Chucky. And like haunted mirrors have been a thing for forever, so that can be the whole Candyman thing. And haunted jewels, the Wishmaster. That's if you wanted to go that route and show how that entire world could be connected. Which I don't mind the entire horror universe being connected. The only thing where it starts pulling me away from that is when you get certain things like, okay, why is Freddy the way he is? Oh, it's the Necronomicon. Why is Jason the way he is? It's the Necronomicon. It's like if you don't have a origin that you can define a certain character, you automatically put the Necronomicon on it, and you create a certain thing around Evil Dead that they're the origin for everything, and that I don't like. I think there should be multiple, I want to say, entities that create certain monsters. Like Jason has his death curse. Freddy, if you want to use Freddy's Dead, he has his dream demons. I wouldn't use the Necronomicon to say, you know, how they came about. They're their own thing. Ash has the Deadites that are clearly Necronomicon. The Jinn are completely their own thing, and stuff like that. That was one of the things that just annoyed me with the whole Adam Marcus thing. Is Jason's a Deadite, and then you go to Ash versus Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, and then they make Freddy a Deadite, and then it just turns into everybody's a Deadite. Everything comes from the Book of the Dead, and it just, to me, it cheapens things a bit. And then it also doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you hear Professor Nobi talk about what the Necronomicon is actually used for. And it's used for demon resurrection, not human resurrection. But Adam Marcus did say, and I think it was the first interview, that Jason is Jason, but he's also the Evil Dead. So I guess it's supposed to be a partial possession, but that still doesn't make sense because of the whole thing that Jason is still, he still has emotions for his mother. The Deadites have no emotion for anything. So it was something that never really made sense. It was just, he wanted to make his mark on an iconic character. So when everyone says, you know, yeah, Jason's a Deadite, they have to think of him for that. And it was something that was introduced in Jason Goes to Hell and hasn't been really brought up since outside of the comics. Exactly, Brian. Like, it shouldn't be the source of everything. And clearly is not if you're using the entire Evil Dead canon. Because you look at Ash versus the Evil Dead, and pretty much everything that Ruby says in the course of those 3 seasons. Exactly. There's nothing about Jason that makes him even a tiny bit of a Deadite. Now I get you want to try like to explain the whys, like why did Jason suddenly grow into an adult after reappearing in the lake as a kid when he attacked Alice, and your whole point of that is going to the Necronomicon and making it all supernatural, when really you didn't need that explanation, because Jenny kind of lays it out in part 2. Like, he grew up in the woods, he didn't really drown. Now in Victor Miller's script, Jason was actually dead, so they wanted to try to am I? Oh, for some reason it won't let me ready. Huh, okay. There we go. Yeah, in Victor Miller's script, Jason was dead, and I guess Adam Marcus was trying to work off of that and trying to make everything as logical as he felt like it needed to be. But if we're really talking logic and all the terrible decisions he made in that movie, like I said in the video, like, how is it when Jason got resurrected through his long lost sister, so to speak, why did he become resurrected with his clothes and mask still on and still as decayed as he was before he blew up? Like, you could have easily just made Jason the way he looked in part 3, like complete, or even part 2, with no injuries or anything like that, both eyes, because he's completely reborn. There should be no injuries on him. There's no reason you go from worm to being reborn and having bones protruding from your knuckles because you're decayed. And I mean, like, I only dislike the movie from a storytelling standpoint, being someone that pays a lot of attention to the Friday the 13th story. But from an entertainment standpoint, like, I love it. Like, the kills, the gore, like everything with that, like, I like it. But once you start getting into, okay, now let's look at it from a Friday the 13th story and where it fits in the overall canon, it's terrible. You have a Leatherface. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I have read the Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash comics. I have one of them in physical form, and then I have the other in digital. Here on Leatherface all over. Which I forget who was trying to convince me that the comic was canon to the series, which the comic itself may be canon to the New Line world, but as we see from the Evil Dead TV show, it's not canon to Ash versus the Evil Dead. Because I think it was someone who was advocating for the whole Deadite thing. What is going on with these skill checks? They are like super fast and slippery. gosh, there's like no fucking pallets anywhere. I mean, I like the Easter eggs in Nightmare Warriors, but ultimately that's all it really was just Easter eggs and references to past films that fans would love. Oh shit. It's like on my ass. Someone make the save. Oh shit, I guess he knew what I was doing that time. Yeah, I completely agree on both of that. Like, both of those things. Like, Freddy never wanted to rule the world. He wanted to kill as many children as he possibly could for their souls. Like, he wanted power, but not that kind of power. And pretty much corrupting Maggie the way they did was just... didn't make sense. Yeah, like pretty much anybody you put up there with Ash, they're going to not necessarily stand out as well. that's not good. Okay, because you're dead, I think. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm not even waiting. Yeah, definitely. Like Tina, you'd figure escalation wise, Tina at the end of part 7 was dropping houses and able to bring back the dead at will. Like you would have figured after maybe a decade or two of especially practicing, maybe she'd be at a much greater level. I mean, one would assume. But also, I'm not sure if the campgrounds itself might have had something to do. But I guess you gotta kind of throw that out, because if it's all the Necronomicon, then that means Camp Crystal Lake never had a death curse, which never really affects how, like, at least in my mind, Tina's powers got amplified at the on the grounds, like near the camp, because obviously it's not on Camp Crystal Lake. But as we see from all the hallucinations and people going crazy from parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Tommy, like basically anybody that comes close to that camp that's usually a survivor, you usually have someone that has hallucinations or goes crazy. My thought on that was Tina was already susceptible to visions and telekinesis on a small level before she got back to the Shepherd house. My thing is the campgrounds is supernaturally charged with the death curse, which she's attuned to. So it amplified her power when she got back to the campgrounds, or the overall area, you know what I mean. And that's why she was able to do what she did in her fights against Jason. Plus it became fight or flight. That would make sense if they went with that, and that's why there wasn't a whole lot of growth there. But when you start saying, okay, it's all the Necronomicon that's doing everything, well then anywhere the Necronomicon should be, Tina's power should amplify instantly because of that being supernaturally charged. But that's if they wanted to go that route with her. Do it like this on. Yeah, I don't think everything should branch from it either. But I mean, from like from what the comic was trying to get across, like that's essentially what it was saying, and pretty much trying to think of from what I think it should be to what the comics logic is. If that makes any sense. Definitely. Like, I mean, you could have, I guess you could say, an overarching source if you want to, but I would leave it unnamed. But me personally, I would much rather multiple sources. Sort of like, I guess you could say, like, multiple evil entities that almost act as the Greek gods. Like, pretty much you have one that pretty much would control Jason, one or Jason's kind of territory, and Jason's like the avatar for them. Another one where Freddy's like the avatar for them, and you know all these sort of things. Like helping like to shape, but even then, like I would want the entities to play such a small role because I would want to focus on those specific characters instead of, you know, like yeah, they're all popular. Like I like Jason, Hockey Mask, Machete, all that, but I want to know more about the thing that is controlling them, and that's where you, I think, begin to do a disservice to the character. Because Jason should be the star of his own story. It shouldn't be about, you know, hey, what gave Jason this power, and since he gave, or he or she or whatever it is gave Jason that power, shouldn't they be able to kill Jason themselves? That's why I like Badlands so much, because Badlands, it subtly gets across the death curse of Crystal Lake, at least from my interpretation of it, and it never reveals any kind of spirit or entity or anything like that. It's just history repeating itself in a circle of vengeance. Yeah, I think with Supernatural, like with that being on as long as it did, they probably wrote themselves like just out of everything that they could have possibly done. I mean, they, after that many seasons, it taught what, like 14 seasons so far. Next year is supposed to be its last year. That's a long time for a TV show, especially a horror-based TV show. Like eventually, they're going to go so far off the track that there's just no coming back from. Now I'm hoping they don't try to wait 2-3 years and then try to reboot it and then start completely over. I'm hoping with, at least my hope right now is that with Supernatural coming to an end, next season. Hopefully everything is squared away with Friday the 13th and we finally get the Friday the 13th TV show that they were talking about for years. Likely not. And as I said before, like if we're going to do it, I would much rather it be on Netflix where they don't have to worry about being censored. But as we see with shows like Supernatural, you can be pretty bloody and not worry about being censored. But I think with something like Friday the 13th, I want all that it's supposed to give us that within a Friday the 13th film without censoring itself. Like the realistic kills and all that. Oh shit! It wouldn't let me fucking drop the pallet. It kept putting me back on the fucking... Whew. Damn it, Amanda. So I'll make the save because this is way too far for me to get to him. Oh, that person died on the hook. Oh, great, the fucking pallet's gone. Alright, so make your choice is no longer an option. Oh shit, I'm out. Nope, I was expecting her to go the other way. Todd McIntosh. Why does that name sound familiar? And what work has he done? I mean, I don't think any one company just needs to be in control of the franchise itself. I think, honestly, you need a Frank Mancuso type to oversee everything within the continuity of Friday the 13th to keep the tone consistent. Because that's what helped everything pretty much up until even Part 8. Not sure if he was attached to Part 8, but like, that's kind of what I think you kind of need. Because you look at the everything from Part 1 through 6, 7, all of that flows like very well together. Oh, he did Buffy. Okay, yeah, definitely. Just odd I knew the name sounded familiar, but I couldn't think of it. Like what he worked on, because I mean, I'm a big Buffy fan. Which actually, from what I remembered hearing, they're rebooting that too. Try to use the key this time. Oh, definitely. Like they hold up. I'd even say on like Netflix budgets. Like his special effects look really, really, really good. Which I mean, I'd love to see him do the Jason makeup effects, like that, just to see like what he could come up with for the idea of Jason. Because I mean, yes, Savini is the like patriarch of that look for Jason, giving us the kid Jason look and then the definitive adult look with his mask off. Because I mean, you look at those two like, together, they look like they should. They look like they go together. Part three, oh, yeah, part three, like kind of look. Part three looked good. Like, don't get me wrong. Part three looked really good because I mean he was deformed and all that. Um, Gave us pretty much where the eye kind of looked like it was drooped down the way it was supposed to, but it was still moving. Like that, I love. With Savini's Jason in part four, it was like his mouth couldn't really move unless you go to the one scene where the head was mostly, I guess it was animatronic, from when the machete was like slicing off the top of the head, and the slanted eye like pretty much didn't really move from what I remember. Oh no, no, you're not wrong. Supernatural has some really good CGI effects, especially with the creativity of not being able to give you full-on angel and demon, and being very suggestive with lighting and special effects like that. I mean, some of their makeup work is good, but Buffy is what set the standard for that. Extra one. Okay. I'm sure there was no issues. That's like, I think the guy, I mean, it's not on television, but the guy that did Hellraiser Judgment, I think is Gary Tunnicliffe. He's a pretty good special effects artist as well, especially with dealing with extremely tiny budgets. Oh, the hag. Yeah, sometimes a big budget can actually hinder you too. Which is where a lot of those shows kind of have faults at. Because you look at like certain big budget like horror movies that fail, and it's usually the smaller budget ones that thrive because of the creativity that they have to put behind it. Like whether it be special effects, and sometimes they don't have enough money for certain effects that forces them to do things and think outside the box that become extremely memorable. How the hell did you wait down there? Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on the Amityville reboot. Like, yeah. Like, when things become too polished it loses a lot of the charm that the 80s movies had. Like, one of the scenes that always stood out to me ever since I was a kid that I watched that illustrates like what you don't see is from the movie Mutants. I think it's one or the other, where it's essentially a zombie movie if you haven't seen it. Like, not exactly Living Dead, but something similar to that extent. And what ends up happening is these kids I think it's kids or like might be some adults in there, they're infected with whatever is making all of these people like feral and wanting to kill everyone. And this woman is trying to protect this little boy in a bathroom stall. Like, while she's protecting them in the stall, the monsters, we'll just call them because they're not exactly zombies, they're reaching under the stall, clawing at them, trying to get them. And they get a hold of the boy's leg, and I think they secrete acid or something from their hand, so they're burning as they're grabbing. She ends up losing her grip, and the little boy, now this is a child, ends up getting pulled under the stall, and you can hear him screaming for his life and like ultimately being killed. Now, you could be like very gritty and show that, or you could do what they did where they didn't show anything, you just hear the screams, and it kind of does it where like your mind pretty much fills in the blanks on it. Good night, Brian. I'll see you. Hey, Dragon Lord, what's going on? Just, you know, usual talking some horror. Was just planning to wrap up the stream real quick. As it is nearing 2 a.m. here, and I am getting just a tad bit hungry, and think we gained enough points for the night as are pretty much on our way trying to gain as many blood points as possible before Tuesday and grabbing up Ash. But you know, other than that, like I said, just talking horror as normal. Like I said, I'm gonna end this here, and thanks Brian for sticking around. Pretty much everyone else that was watching, even though Dragon Lord, I know you're just visiting or just now getting in. Even thank you for coming. Like, feel free to check out the video once it's on the channel, see what you missed, and check me out again tomorrow. I'll be back on at usually around, I want to say, between 11:30 to 12:30. I'll be on tomorrow night. And that'll be tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'll be all on streaming around those times and stream for 2 hours here, 2 hours there. We'll see how it goes. Ash, like I said, once Ash drops Tuesday, I may even come on early just to stream that. We'll see how that goes. Just keep an eye out for that notification on that. And I will see you guys then.